This program is financially supported by the fundings from the European Commission.
You are listening to the Ebu Access Cast, the first official podcast from European Blind Union about assistive technology for blind and partially sighted people. And here are the hosts.
Welcome to the 10th episode of the Ebu Access Cast. Yeah!
It's a birthday.
It's a birthday, yeah. We are 10 years old.
But still not a birthday. We should have 12 months.
Yeah, correct. Actually, next May, in May we will have a year anniversary.
Yep.
For the Ebu Access Cast. Yeah, thanks guys for listening to us for so long. I hope you do listen to us also in the future. And Jakob and Bart are here as well as Tanya. Hi guys.
Hello.
Hello.
How's life?
Well, I was on holidays for 2 weeks, so...
Oh, where were you going?
Feel kind of refreshed. Nothing special. We went home to Croatia to see the family and friends.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
I was on the coast hoping that I will swim, but it was not warm enough.
Yeah, but we were able to catch some sun because Luxembourg is not so famous for having so much sun periods. But yeah,
Did you have some holidays, guys, as well?
No. Was working all the time.
Okay. Then you will have more for summer.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you celebrate Easter, or do you have the Orthodox one in your country?
No. It's the Catholic one. So yeah, we did celebrate Easter.
Yes.
So did any of you get some gadgets for Easter?
Not really. No, I didn't get anything. I got I did get one thing. I got a little MIDI controller keyboard, Native Instruments Complete Control M32, which is a smaller one, which you can put into your backpack and go away and play music.
Oh yeah, that's a good.
So I got one.
That's a good gadget. Yeah. When you have to do something quick, and you're on the way.
It's good to do it on the road, yeah.
It's good. Yeah. For the road, it's great. Yeah, speaking of the instruments, yeah, I got also a new bass amp, but that's another thing for the episode. All right. So, this time for you, we prepared lots of interviews, actually, and because Bart was very busy. On few conferences, and
I had the pleasure of traveling a little bit. Yes, I was invited to a conference in Stockholm, Sweden, where I interviewed the main organizer. Managed to get her in the last minute of the conference, and just after we had a very interesting accessibility summit in Brussels, organized by Microsoft, where they gave us an update on. What they're all working on accessibility-wise. They had many international speakers invited to Brussels. And I managed to do 2 recordings there. One with the person behind Seeing AI, Saqib Shaikh, which was very nice talk. And another short interview with one of the persons behind the Soundscape app, which is probably not so known yet in Europe since it's only launched in the UK. But it's an interesting concept with 3D audio. So you will have the opportunity to listen to those 3 little interviews at the end of this episode.
Yes, that's correct. Wow, that's very good. Thanks, Bart, for the additional effort you did. We listened to the interviews in advance because we have to verify it, of course. And you've done perfect job, man. Congrats.
They're really good. So you can hear them soon as well.
Yeah. But before the interviews, let's check out what's happening around in the assistive tech.
And now, accessibility in the news.
So, the first news for this time comes from Apple. And basically, the news says that new version of iOS 12.2 came out, available for all iPhones and iPads. And one of the features which got mysteriously introduced in the iOS is called voiceover detection. Basically, what it does, it if you turn it on, it basically detects when you are browsing the web with Safari if you're using assistive tech or not. What do you think about that, guys?
Yeah, it tells the websites whether the user is using assistive tech. I see some people got angry because of privacy things. And I didn't get it fully, but Apple, what they did was they turned the feature on automatically. Then they later explained it. It's not really on, but it seemed like it's on. So it's very confusing. Well, there's two sides. I personally don't mind, like, if somebody bothers to Google me, then they know I'm blind anyway. I know it's like, people don't want to announce it, then it's fine, and then that's what the toggle is there for. I don't personally mind. At the same time, there's the thing where a website can trigger different accessibility features, when you go there with your screen reader. For example, Google does it a lot with their Gmail and Google Docs and all that. They see you're using a screen reader, so they offer you a screen reader mode. And I think it's really good that we can do it now on iOS websites too. I don't think it makes developers go and develop special versions of their websites only for accessibility and then forget to update those. But I think it's a good way to also do maybe research for some projects and all that. So overall, there are two sides to the story. I think it's good that Apple included this. Maybe they shouldn't have activated it by default, but the toggle is there in accessibility settings. So if you go to voiceover accessibility, then you can turn it off.
Right.
Yes, I don't agree. I think it's not correct that we are not informed as users, because there is no indication and notification that there is this new functionality. You really have to know, you have to search for it. So if you're not aware, which probably most of the users are not aware, you're giving your information without knowing it. And this also goes under GDPR and other issues. But also I think that this goes in the wrong direction for development of accessible websites, because if we need simpler interface, this would also maybe mean that some websites will be text only or some parts text only, or we are accepting that some components are complex enough that they will be never accessible. So we should have an accessible version of that component, which is again simplified. So I don't know. I am not really happy with this.
But at the same time, apps have got the information that the user is using VoiceOver for a very long time, and this hasn't been an issue. So why are websites different?
Generally, I don't agree that any application or website should have this information. I think that if developers design websites with accessibility in mind, it should be accessible for everybody, not meant specially for screen reader users or for users with who are using magnifier or whatever assistive technology. Yes.
As an accessibility consultant, I tend to agree with what Tanya says here. It's not something we've been advocating for, that web developers cater specifically to the needs of a relatively smaller group of screen reader users. The idea is that you make a website which is inclusive, accessible for all by using the right techniques, and it's up to the screen reader to handle it for speech and braille. So they should optimize their website anyway for accessibility and not make separate versions. Now, I'm not that much concerned of the privacy thing. What you're communicating is that that VoiceOver is running on your device. That could mean that you are blind, but there might be other cases where VoiceOver is running on a device for other reasons. So, but I see your point for complicated websites like Google Docs. There you need kind of an accessible, or there you need more support for the screen reader. But it's not something we would like to push other web developers to get trapped into making separate versions, whether VoiceOver is active or not.
Apple hasn't been very talkative about why they did it. It's you're right that nobody really asked for that feature, and they just kind of came up with itself. But maybe, and this is just a speculation, maybe they want to broaden the use of VoiceOver, because I know sighted people who are very excited about VoiceOver because they can walk and do stuff and have their phone in their pocket and do stuff on the screen with their finger and have headphones on and read their websites and emails and all that. And I know people are doing that. They are not blind, they are fully sighted, but they are using VoiceOver just because they can't be bothered to look at the screen. So, there are many ways to look at this, but I agree with you as well that a developer shouldn't make a condition where, okay, people are using screen readers, and then if only I get this indication, then I make my website accessible. If not, then no. So yeah, this story has many different sides.
I would say that basically all the points raised are valid from all of you. So yeah.
Well, I think it's important to inform people about it and let everybody make the decision for themselves whether they turn it off, something which is turned on by default. So it's important that you know of this feature or option, let's call it, and you have the freedom to change it. But we just want to inform you and make your own decision whether you want to keep this turned on or not. I don't think it's up to us to give you any advice on this, but we try to give you some arguments to make your own decision. Whether you go into the settings and turn this off or leave it like it is.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we will see what will time show in the future for that. But so far, we wanted to inform our listeners about this option. So now you know what to do. Well, since we are on the Apple side, I'd like to stay on one more topic which Jakob just introduced before we started our recording session, and that's the announcement of the new app called Voice Dream
Scanner.
Voice Dream Scanner. Yeah, Voice Dream Scanner, available for iOS. Jakob, can you tell us a little bit about it? What is it and what it does? It's an application for OCR.
Yeah, VoiceStream has been a very famous reader application, VoiceStream Reader, available also for Android, which does read your audiobooks. Right. And now the same developer has produced VoiceStream Scanner, which is an OCR application, which works in combination with the VoiceStream Reader as well. So what it does, it is an OCR scanner. You point your camera to text on a page or wherever, take a picture, and it detects it. Now, a VoiceStream scanner is specified more to scan documents, pages and books. It has batch mode. You can scan multiple pages, but I was very successful in scanning some envelopes and all that, all such things as well. Now, I tested this and I'm very impressed. It is very hugely accurate. It just works. I made a picture, or I scanned a DVD case which is reflective under a bright light, so it most certainly reflected to the camera, and it was wrapped in a plastic, and it read the happily and very fancily designed DVD cover very well without any issues. Also, I scanned an envelope which has like 3 languages on it differently, and it read them all correctly. I don't have any books. I can't test it with books, but I would say go and try out VoiceStream Scanner. It's worth checking. And what it does, in combination with VoiceStream Reader, you can scan the stuff and then import it to your VoiceStream Reader as a book.
Oh, okay.
Is it does it use the camera, or does it help you making the picture, or does it make the picture while the document is in view, like some apps do? Does it help you with positioning your camera?
I didn't see that feature yet. It didn't tell me anything when I was hovering my phone across the
envelope or
page, book.
Yeah.
So even without this support, you managed to make good
yes,
pictures.
Exactly. And there is a thing which it calls edge detection. So I guess what it does, it separates 2 pages when it's like a book format. But since it's just out, I haven't had a chance to test it fully yet. Maybe next month, we will do a little demo of it.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what's the price for it?
Yeah, okay. The price of VoiceStream Scanner is €6.99 in euros. You can go and get it from your App Store, and it's there and present, and has even an iPad app, so you can go and scan stuff with your iPad as well.
Nice. That's very good that we have one more option which works quite good, and it's much cheaper than the other apps which do the same job, meaning KNFB, for example. Have you had the chance of comparing it to KNFB, Jakob? Maybe.
It is better than KNFB. KNFB did some errors, and I would say VoiceStream is better than KNFB.
Yeah. Well, since now I own the iPad, I should try the app.
You can go and try it out. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So that's it for now from news from Apple regarding the assistive tech. What we have for you as well are 2 short announcements. One comes from the Ebu Access. Basically, they launched new updates which just fix few small bugs. It's the NVDA 2019.1.1. The application basically fixes some bugs in the older versions of the Office and the Google Chrome, which used to crash on some occasions, and now it works fine. So if you are the NVDA user, go and do the update if you already didn't. And the other news comes from Google, and basically for a month. It's kind of a little bit older news, but the version of the software is still accurate. That's why we still announce it now. The thing is that Google Accessibility Suite, which incorporates TalkBack, Select to Speak, and the magnifier now has been updated to version 7.3. Version with multiple improvements. One of them is screen search, which is now available. So basically you can click on that and search for the content on the screen. It's like, let's say, virtual kind of find in the, let's say, Windows screen readers or VoiceOver. And there are a bunch of other features, not so important, but lots of bug fixes. etc. But that's always good. And if you're a Android user, you can update your version of the accessibility suite. Though usually if you have the updates turned on, it should give you the announcement that the app has a new version for update, or if you have the automatic updates turned on, then it will get updated automatically. You don't have to do anything. These are the news from Ebu Access and Google. And now we come to the point where we have to talk about something that's coming up in the next month. And these are the famous European elections. And basically when we talk about people with visual impairment, then we have to talk also about the accessible voting. Tanya, you have to say something about that.
Yes. So it is important that we take the responsibility and that we take the chance to vote for better Europe and for more accessible Europe. But unfortunately, not in all countries voting is accessible to visually impaired persons. In 2014 in Croatia, when we had our first EU elections, it was not accessible at all, meaning that we didn't have even the Braille, so no nothing. We really relied on a person with us to cross our choice. Which is really embarrassing, and still today for these elections, 18 countries will not provide accessible voting, and it's not only voting; it's also electoral campaign and websites that we covered last time. The accessibility of websites of the parliament, so we should be able to access all information about parties and all information about the elections. So, what are the accessibility solutions for voting in your countries? Where in Belgium, in Estonia, and in Luxembourg?
Well, in Luxembourg right now, people who are blind will be able to vote on two ways. One way is to go directly on your voting place, where you will get the additional schabloon. So it's a Braille version of the, let's say, voting map. So the version is version of that Braille version has got updated. Now it has been done in the kind of plastic mold. It's molded and printed in plastic with laser printer, which is able to print also the Braille stuff. It really looks nice. I saw it because the organization where I work, we are working on that. And so basically, if you appear on the voting place, you will get this Braille map for voting, including the small booklet where you can read all the information about the parties which you want, where you want to vote and stuff like that. Or if you don't want to go to the voting place physically, you could subscribe that you want to vote by letter, and then you would get all the packaging at home where you can vote and then return the results via post.
And you get with Braille at the letter.
Right. Yes. That's how it's done for now in Luxembourg. I hope that next elections will go towards the electronic voting, but we are now too far away for that. What about Estonia and Belgium?
In Estonia, we do have the same. Well, basically, you can order a letter as well. You don't get a braille in there. You get there's just an option that somebody will come to your house and helps you vote, or you go to the voting office and they will assist you there to vote. The third option is to do e-voting, where you download a little piece of software on your computer. You authenticate yourself with your national ID card, or what we have a mobile ID, which basically means your national ID card is tied to your phone SIM. So you just enter a PIN code on your phone, and then you're authenticated as yourself. And then you get a list of the people you can vote for, and then you select your vote, and you're done. It takes... Well, I measured some time. For me, it took 2 minutes with downloading and authenticating and all that. If we don't count the time for me to thinking of the choices, so it's very efficient, very fast, and it works very well. So that's our option.
And the e-voting is available to everybody. It's not only meant for persons with disabilities.
No, it's everybody. Yeah, everybody can do that.
And it's accessible. That's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. But how it's done? How do you, if you have to authenticate yourself?
Yep.
Usually, when you vote, the results has to be anonymous.
Well, the authentication is done because it needs to know where I am living. So it shows me, for example, for local elections, for parliamentary elections. I am not sure. Maybe you don't have to authenticate, but probably you do, because they have to know that you're a citizen anyway. So you have to authenticate.
Right. Also to guarantee that you vote only once.
Yeah, exactly. And they, in the back end, because I actually researched it for another project, in the back end they will disconnect your name from the vote. So when they're being counted, in the end, nobody can know who you as an individual voted for. It's just a vote which is there.
Okay. And what about Belgium, Bart?
Now, first of all, we in Belgium, it's one of the few countries where it's mandatory to go voting. So we have to go and vote, which is in most countries optional. We have to vote in our own municipality. We can't choose the polling station where we want to. We are assigned a polling station. We have to go there physically on a specific day. And in half of the places, it's an electronic vote. So there is a dedicated machine that helps you voting. And in other places, it's paper. Now, both are not accessible. Of course, the paper is not, and there is no braille mall, as you say, over it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And also the electronic devices, they are touchscreen based, and no screen reader by default. So what is the accessibility accommodation is that you can bring someone you trust with you in the polling station to assist you with voting, or you ask some of one staff member of the polling station to help you. Now, personally, for me, that's fine. I know these people are there independently. They are there. They are supposed to be neutral, and I trust that they tick what I ask them to tick. But yeah, of course. There is a pilot now that in only 2 municipalities there is the voting machine is equipped with a second device which also has headphones. So it has a screen reader inside, and it has physical buttons to go previous, next, like arrow keys. You get a button to repeat. But yeah, unfortunately, it's only available in 2 municipalities. And as I said, you are assigned a polling station, so I cannot travel there. Even if I want accessible voting, I have to go to my assigned polling station. So if they don't provide it, they don't provide it. My very personal opinion is that this is a very expensive solution to develop a complete separate physical module and this all synthetic speech. As you know, Belgium is a multilingual country as well, so we have to do it in several languages. Again, personally, I don't have a problem that someone assists me. It's something we do every 2-3 years, like voting. And again, personal opinion, I prefer that we spend money on making daily activities accessible rather than something we have to do every 2 or 3 years. So personally, I have no problem with the situation as it is now. I'm a bit jealous on the Estonian solution. I think that's the way to go, where on your own time and on your own accessible device, you can do your electronic voting. I think that's a very good example.
Sure.
Yeah, indeed. Then that's inclusive design, because then when it's inclusive, you don't have to spend additional money on expensive devices. You just create one. And I really hope that in the future there will be a regulation where all the countries will have one model of accessible voting, because for the moment every country has its own solutions, and in some countries it's really not working or it's not accessible. So let's hope that at least for these elections it will be better for the next one in 5 years.
Oh yeah, time will tell, definitely.
Yeah.
Speaking of the accessible rules about the accessibility and the laws, I forgot to mention that the Accessibility Act just got voted in the council, so now it's official now. So what we are waiting now only is the publication of it in the European official press release.
Official journal of European Union. It needs to be published. So this is the next step. Yes, it was adopted now in April from the council, and now it needs to be published in the official journal. And we covered it last time you spoke with Alejandro Moledo about the Accessibility Act and what it covers and what it does not cover. So I'm really looking forward.
Yeah, actually, we all do. So yes.
Final text also translated in all the languages when it's published in the official journal.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. So before we say goodbye for this episode and encourage you to listen to our interviews, there is just one more invitation to announce for you who are traveling around or who are near Germany. The thing is that Site City 2019 is happening in between 8th and 10th of May in Frankfurt, in the Hotel Sheraton, which is on the airport, on the Frankfurt airport. And this is we will be there and probably give you some coverage and interviews from those. I'm looking forward, because there will be like 135 exhibitors this year, and basically Site City became kind of the biggest event in Europe for the assistive tech. So something like we can compare it with the European version of CSUN, let's say like that, because they besides the exhibitionists, they also have a bunch of different lectures, which are mostly in German, but probably they also have translations. And for people who have never been there, there is really good assistance system from them provided, where you can reserve the guide for additional amount of hours or days if you want to stay for more than one day. You can reserve the guide, which will take you around wherever you want. It would be good only to make the list of the exhibits that you want to visit before. and then the guide takes you there wherever you want to do. You do your stuff and go further. So the assistance is provided, and Tanya and I were there 2 years ago for the first time, and it works. It worked fantastically. So we hope for the same experience this year.
That's excellent.
Yeah. All right. Before we go offline, I'd like to thank you guys, to all of you, to be here. We will be back in May, and if you want, you can contact us on our email, which is listed in the show notes, and also through our Twitter page. And if you got anything else to do, but you are working in the assistive tech industry or working as the accessibility consultants, take care about the Accessibility Awareness Day, which is this year on the May 16th, which is Thursday. And that's a special day because on that day, people usually make the local events in their organizations or institutions which are dealing with the promotion of the accessibility of all the products. And I'm sure that all the big companies and agencies which are working as the accessibility consultants will have their events also online, so you will be able to see what people are doing.
And
all right, guys.
It's a great opportunity to promote accessibility. Usually, if you are working in accessibility, you are promoting this all over the year, but this is really day dedicated only for the promotion of accessibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, we got our first episode got launched on the last Accessibility Awareness Day. So that's
okay,
good.
You see.
Yeah. Right. So take care, everyone, and see you in the next episode.
See you.
Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye.
April 10th, we are here in Stockholm, and it's the end of the Funka Accessibility Days conference. I'm here with one of the main organizers.
Thank you. My name is Susanna Lorin. I am currently the Chief Research and Innovation Officer at Funka, which is a small consultancy in accessibility and usability based in Sweden, but we cover all of Europe with our services. And the Funka Accessibility Days is a professional international conference on web access. And this is the 11th time we make this conference.
Is it easy to come up with always a new program? Because again, we had a mix of policy and technical stories, but 11 years in a row is quite intensive, I think.
It is, and I'm happy you say that, because some of my staff, they say, oh, we should do this in Brussels as well, and we should do it 2 times a year. They don't realize how much work it is to do the program. It is really intensive, but it is also great fun. We do it as a team working experience, so all the team is working. It's really not me, it's the whole staff, and it is great fun, and we all work together. But the program, my idea when I created this was to do something that was better than the other conferences I had attended myself. And so the mix of policy, standardization, technology, design, and so on, really practical, hands-on, and also strategy is really, that is my sort of my baby, my idea about how a good conference should be. Of course, not everyone agree with me, but that is the idea. So I try to stick to that concept, if you will. And another important concept is that I don't invite speakers if I haven't heard them before, or me or somebody I trust have heard them before. And it's absolutely not pay to play. We don't have any sponsors. We only invite people that we know have something interesting to say and can do it and can deliver a speech in a good way. And they should not do marketing from stage. I think that is horrible. So I don't have a problem putting. Sometimes it's difficult to put together the program so that it's diverse enough. That has been a problem sometimes, and I sometimes struggle finding female speakers enough, because I think it's also a gender thing. I don't want only men on stage all the time. but really the topics, I think that is never a problem. There are so many exciting things happening, and many people have really good things to say. So.
Conference is all about accessible design, accessible web, accessible apps. But there's also in the audience quite some people with disabilities, and you pay also a lot of attention to the accessibility of the event itself. Can you explain a little bit what you do, especially for blind and partially sighted visitors, since we are the Bio podcast, to make the event an accessible experience for everyone?
Well, we try as hard as we can to do everything we can in accessibility. We have captioning, we have sign language interpretation, absolutely, and of course we have Braille, we have the menus in Braille, in Swedish and Norwegian and English Braille, and we also have the program in Braille in 3 languages, and we also always have somebody to assist or guide partly sighted users or visitors, so that they can get to know the location and so on. And we choose the venue very, very, very picky when we choose the venue, and of course our staff are really trained in everything around accessibility. So
the carpet in the corridor, was that originally there, or is it something you added?
That is something we added because of the not only for accessibility, but also because this is really an industrial, or it looks really like a industry. I don't know how to say that in English, but the venue is not. We used to be at a very nice hotel where everything was like in a like a castle, very beautiful and nice surroundings. And this is more brutal architecture, so it's very flexible. So we can do anything we want. It's like a black box, but that means also that everything is like concrete, and you need to work with the environment a little bit to get it a nice feel. But was the carpet bad or good for you?
For me, it was very useful, and you put the balloons everywhere, so that's easier. It's nicer to bump into balloons than into concrete pillars. So
yes, exactly.
Okay, one last question. Every year in the program, you also have a surprise guest.
Yeah.
A few years ago, I had the privilege to meet the blind film critic here.
Yeah.
And this year again, you had a blind surprise for us.
Yeah, maybe my fantasy is not that big. No, I had that is the most difficult one, because I really had some of the. To me, the wow persons, I'm starstruck always by these people. I try to get somebody that no one would imagine that they will find here. But we have tried to have different disabilities and so. But of course, Chieko Asakawa she's a legend. She invented more or less the screen reader. And when I had the opportunity to be introduced to her and meet her in person, then I could not resist asking her to come, because I think that would be the perfect surprise for this year. And I think it was very, very popular as well.
I'm happy you pronounce her name, because I really enjoyed the presentation, but I couldn't repeat her name.
I don't know if it's perfect, but my husband was in Japan for many years, so I think I guess a little bit in the right direction.
Okay, thank you very much, and maybe many more Funka days to come.
Oh, I hope so. We are not planning to close it down, and you are, of course, always welcome, Bart. You are my VIP guest.
Thank you
so
so
will
much.
always be here.
It's April 12th. We are here in Brussels at Microsoft premises. They organize an accessibility summit for 2 days. And I have the great pleasure to have with me the person behind the app called Seeing AI that probably all our listeners know. Could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, pleasure to be here. I'm Saqib Sheikh. I'm a software engineer at Microsoft and the lead of the Seeing AI app.
So for those who don't know, Seeing AI is the talking camera, I think you call it. It has all these functions to narrate what we can see through the camera of our phone. It was launched, I think, in the summer of 2017, and I have the feeling that you were a little bit overwhelmed with the success of it. I even went through the trouble of creating an account for the American App Store, because in the beginning it was not launched in Europe. So I would like to hear about those, why you started this app, and if you imagined the huge success that it got.
Well, like you say, when we launched, had no idea how popular it would be, and just humbled by that response. And yeah, look forward to making it even better and more popular. But you also asked how it got started. So going back a few years, I work out of the London office, and we had an event where for 1 week across the whole of Microsoft people could work on anything that interested them, a hackathon. So I studied artificial intelligence at university and had always been looking at this field with interest, and I thought, what if we can apply artificial intelligence to understand the world and describe that to someone like myself who is blind? And so that was the beginning of this, crazy idea. Maybe I think this was 2014. And we made some minimal progress. But then the next year there was another hackathon and more colleagues got interested. And I think as more and more people got interested, and from across the company, different continents even, and over time it got better and it gained momentum and got some attention, and eventually this became my job, and it's been such a great journey. And then, as you know, we came out with the app about 18 months ago.
Yeah, I noticed that yesterday you were introduced with job title. I think it was product manager for Seeing AI. 2 years ago, you would have maybe been a research. Your title would be rather a researcher or something. So it really developed inside the company also as a real product line.
Exactly, yes. So it is still a research project, but now in addition to being a research project, it's an app which people around the world rely on. So we're always looking at, what's the next research, but also how do we make this the best experience for our customers?
Around the world, you say, it's very language dependent. It does scanning, it reports about many objects. I can imagine it's a lot of work to localize this product. So in the beginning it was launched in the US App Store. Now the app is, I think, available in many countries. But it's, at least in Belgium, it's English version, which for me and maybe for half of our listeners is not the biggest problem. But are there any plans of localizing? I can imagine it's a lot of work.
Exactly. We definitely want to do this. Today it is only available in English. And the challenge there is also just how do you get the artificial intelligence to be able to interpret objects and translate that to different languages. So it's something we are aware of and are looking at, but let's see when we can do that because it's a small team.
It's all based on artificial intelligence. That's, we could say it a buzzword, but we can also see that it's really leading to something concrete. If we see how far we came in the last 3, 4, 5 years, for me it's hard to predict in 5 years what is still possible. So I'm not sure if you can give us an idea of what's about to come for what you're still thinking of, but my fantasy is going everywhere if I see what has happened over the last years.
I would love to hear your fantasies. For me, I don't know exactly how long things will take or which direction things will take, but artificial intelligence and technology is getting better at an increasing rate. And I have this idea that one day I'd like the AI to know what is of interest to me and describe things to me that I want to know about, and to be able to remember things that it saw before and to recognize everything in the world. There's so many things I want it to do. And, year by year, hopefully some of these things will become reality.
Last year in Belgium we had a television program where scientists were looking for dreams of people with disabilities to come through, and if they could help them out with technological evolutions. And one episode was a Flemish lady who wanted that the camera of her phone would help her to take better pictures. And the team of this television program, they collaborated with Microsoft, and they developed a solution for her. They didn't mention the name Seeing AI, but we could hear from how it worked that it must have been building on the Seeing AI platform. And in the end of that program, we really saw her phone explaining the scene like we have in Seeing AI, but before taking the picture. So really with a live camera. They developed it for the purpose of that TV show, but I hope that this code is not lost anywhere. Maybe hope to see this kind of evolutions in next releases.
This is, I think the program is called Team Share.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my colleagues, Katrine, she did some amazing work to help Monique, who was the blind lady, and that was an incredible TV program. The team that worked with Katrine on that, they built on top of Seeing AI, and it's just a matter of time. As you can imagine, we have a huge list of things that people want in the app, but being able to be a blind photographer and take better photos is certainly one of the things on our long list.
Yeah, if we could have something in, there is a lot to do about smart glasses. If we could have this technology, even if I don't want to take a picture, I could have my phone or my glasses explain me the scene, even if it's not the purpose of taking a picture. So that was what I'm saying. My fantasy is maybe going everywhere.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah, I would love to have a pair of glasses as well, but the technology today is not quite possible to do this at the right cost, at the right for everyone. The nice thing about a phone is that many people have access to a smartphone, so we focus here for now because we want to get this out to as many people as possible.
Yeah, I appreciate you take it step by step. Maybe one last question. According to Seeing AI, you're 38 years old. Maybe and disclose your real age.
37.
Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, thank you so much. Unless there is something you would like to add.
No, thank you very much for this opportunity. I've just really enjoyed being here in Brussels and getting to meet the NGOs from around Europe. It's been great.
Is there any way that people can help with development, with translation, with adding even more things to your list?
There is a way to email us from within the app, inside the menu, or you can email us directly, seeingai@microsoft.com.
Hello, it's today April 12th. We are here in Brussels at Microsoft, and you're holding an accessibility summit yesterday and today. I'm here with one of the persons behind an app called Soundscape.
Hi, I'm John L. Chudge, part of the Enable team in Next. Next stands for New Experiences and Technology, and the Enable team focuses on designing and developing innovative new technologies, designed in particular for people with a range of disabilities, but also thinking about how those technologies would be useful and valuable to everyone. So Soundscape is an interesting technology in many ways because it uses sound. It uses sound so that a person has a better appreciation and awareness of where they are and what's around them. It does this by calling out landmarks and points of interest from where they actually are. And all you need is currently an iPhone device and a pair of stereo headphones or earbuds, and then you'll have this 3D sound experience so that when it calls out landmarks or points of interest, they'll come from where they actually are. So for example, where we're sat now, over to the left of us is the central station, and I would hear central station to my left-hand side, and it'll appear to come from outside of my head. To the right of me may be a park, behind me may be a coffee shop. I'll hear these landmarks come from where they actually are,
so the
relative to me.
Is the advantage that we have a little bit less text to listen to, because things like Blind Square or Lazarillo can do the same, but they will tell you 30 meters on your right or ahead or clock face. And am I right in saying that the advantage of this sound is that you have less text to listen to?
So And there are a wonderful suite of technologies and apps that people now have access to that empower people to do all sorts of activities. One of the things that really stands Soundscape is in many ways it's like a sound map of the world. Because the sound comes from where these landmarks actually are, we can place them in relation to us so that we know where things are in relation to our position in the world. And we have to remember that it's we as people who are mobile. We are moving around in the world. These physical landmarks like train stations, coffee shops, stay where they are. But because we know where they are, because the sound comes from where they are, it enables us to build this rich picture of the environment that we're in or the space that we may be travelling through. And its rich awareness really, I think, is one of the key differentiators that Soundscape has.
Does it provide me turn-by-turn directions to get to some place, or would I need to combine it with other applications for this?
So one of the things that Soundscape does is it allows you to choose how you want to get from one place to another. Not by providing turn-by-turn instructions, because we've noticed, certainly in some of the researches that we've carried out, that once we give people instructions like that, then their attention becomes very focused on that. Instead, what we want to do is to try and open up people's attention to the world around them, the person that they're with, or the other activity that they may be engaged in. And because Soundscape creates this audio reality around you, this augmented reality experience using sound, it means that you can still do these other things. So, for example, if you want to go from here to the train station and it's a kilometre in a westerly direction, what we allow you to do is to place a virtual sound mark on top of that station in a straight line. But of course you're not going to walk in a straight line. Mm-hmm. You have to deal with streets and crossings and intersections, left turns and right turns. So what Soundscape will do is it will provide a series of audio cues. So, for example, you may be walking down a side street knowing that your destination, the station, is somewhere off and to the right. So you'll hear this little clip-clop sound to the right, which suggests to you, think about turning right.
A bit like a radar.
A little bit like that, but as you come to an intersection, you'll get information about the intersection.
Okay.
Anytime that you're walking, you can request information about what's around you, where you currently are. You can stop, turn back, and just have a think about, well, I wonder what was back in that direction, or wonder what may be down this particular side street. But the important thing about Soundscape is that it uses these sound cues to guide you, but it gives you the decision-making capability. So you choose when you want to turn right. You choose when you want to turn left, because obviously the distance is getting smaller as you're getting to your destination. And it's this choice which is really, really important.
But if my destination is across a river, Soundscape will not tell me where's the bridge.
So one of the things that Soundscape will do, the mapping information that we use comes from OpenStreetMap and from Bing. So obviously if you're going to go over a bridge, you'll know that, let's say, the river or the train line is to the left of you. You know that you're not going to be walking straight over it. Instead, you have to walk along until you come to the bridge. And then Soundscape will give you information about upcoming intersections, about bridges, footpaths, etc. So then you will know, oh, I can turn left here. Or I may choose to walk a little bit further on and think about turning left.
This sounds like a very global solution. OpenStreetMap is available everywhere. Can you tell me the app is not available in all the app stores currently? Is there a reason for it?
So we released Soundscape just over a year ago on iPhone, and we released it in the UK and the US, and a few months ago in Australia. One of the reasons for this is that as it's new technology, and it effectively represents in many ways a new paradigm for a person to relate to the world. We've been working very closely with NGOs and blind and low vision communities in these countries to make sure that we work to understand the needs of their customers, the needs of their clients, so that when we release, we do so with confidence, knowing that these organizations have been working with us, they have trust and they have confidence in the technology. And of course, our plan is to roll out to other countries and in other languages. And during the remainder of 2019, this is something that we'll be actively working on.
If we have people listening to this interview and they might have connections to local NGOs or might want to reach you, where can they find more information about it?
Perfect. So go to our website, hack Microsoft Soundscape, or do a search for Microsoft Soundscape. There's tons of information and videos and tutorials on our website, and you can reach out directly to members of the team by emailing soundscapefeed@microsoft.com.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you for listening. This has been EBU Access Cast.